Hi, welcome back to PC Builder. I'm Jason. We've got another crazy GPU market update, including prices continuing to come down below where even I thought they could be. AMD is absolutely clobbering NVIDIA right now in terms of price to performance. We'll go through both the US prices and global prices, and we'll figure out what's the best price to performance GPU that you should be buying in July 2022. Remember, if you get value out of the video, give it a like. It makes a huge difference to the channel. And of course, subscribe and click that bell icon. That way you get notified when we release cool content. With that, let's jump into it. Before that, this video is sponsored by VIP SCD Key. Say goodbye to crazy expensive Windows 10 licenses and that terrible Activate Windows 10 watermark. Right now, use the links in the video description, head over to VIP SCD Key, and get a Windows 10 Home or Pro OEM license for a great price. Pick your product license, then use the PC Builder discount code PC25 for an additional 25% off. Go to the activation settings on your PC, put in the code, and boom, you have a fully licensed Windows 10 for a crazy low price, which can be upgraded for free to Windows 11. Use the links in the video description below. Let's start off where else? The brand new GPU market in the US, and every time I think prices can't possibly keep falling at the rate that they're falling, the prices keep falling at the rate that they're falling. It is pretty insane, at least on the AMD side, and let's start there. We've got the Radeon RX 6900 XT down 9%, down $80 from $879 last month to $799 in July. That's huge. Again, it's very, very competitive right now with the RTX 3080. We'll go through the NVIDIA cards in just a moment. But if you look at the card itself, it's the ASRock Radeon RX 6900 XT Phantom Gaming D. This is the same card that when prices started to first come down, this is one of the first that came down, and it's continued to lead the way. The ASRock's got in a couple of these cards, but as you can see, there's a number of these cards around this $800 price point right now, which is really, really good. That being said, who wants to buy one of these cards with other ones coming down the pike, next generation GPUs? Similarly, with this Radeon RX 6800 XT, I don't really understand what AMD is thinking here. Still stuck at $759, still 17% above its MSRP. Meanwhile, the 6900 XT is 20% below its MSRP. Not really clear what's going on there. We've got the Radeon RX 6800, which had an 18% price drop to its MSRP. It's actually hit its MSRP, $579. That's the MSI Radeon RX 6800. A lot of this stuff is through rebates because Newegg and other retailers bought these cards from distributors. They ordered them when the prices were much higher. They're now having to sell them when prices are much lower. They're going back to the manufacturer and saying, hey, you gotta help us out. So that's meant where these manufacturer rebates are coming. And these are just gonna be a fixture of the GPU market probably until the next generation launches, maybe even longer than that. And then we've got another big price decrease, the 6700 XT down from $485 last month to $449. That's right, $450 for this card, now considerably below its MSRP. And you've got a number of different units that are available for that. You've got the Gigabyte Radeon RX 6700. You've got an ASRock unit for not that much more. The challenging part about some of these prices now is you really have to hunt because you see the price, but then there's all these rebates and there's all these discount codes. So you just kind of got to hunt through here. That's how confusing the GPU pricing market has become with all these rebates and combo deals and everything. And then here are the ones that I think people should be most excited about, especially in the budget segment and even the mid-range segment. We've got the Radeon RX 6600 XT down from $360 last month to $324. Again, another 10% price cut. Is about, basically about $36 off of its price. Now 15% below its MSRP. I think it will actually probably hit somewhere around $300, but these are pretty good quality cards too. This is the MSI Mech Radeon RX 6600 XT. Again, promo code, and you add the rebate in, but that's how all these deals are working because the GPU market is so upside down because prices have come down so quickly. And you can see even some of the nicer cards like the Sapphire Nitro Plus here, you can get with for about $360. So there's a lot of different cards out there. But honestly, if you've been waiting for a GPU for this long and you got about $300, this is the card I would definitely recommend for you. And then I think a lot of budget builders who have been waiting for a $200-ish GPU, your prayers feel like they're about to be answered because the Radeon RX 6600 now down to $254, came down another 12% last month. It's now 23% below its MSRP. Pretty good unit too. We got, again, the MSI Mech Radeon RX 6600. This month it just happens to be MSI that's really pushing all the price discounts. $279 with the rebate, then you get another 25 off. That gets you to $254. Honestly, that is a phenomenal deal. If you've been holding on to about $200-ish, I'd find the extra $50 and get this. Will they come down any more? That's a great question. I mean, there is a cost to manufacture these cards. That being said, I think what AMD is doing right now on all of its pricing across the board is saying, hey, we're going to release the next gen GPUs pretty soon, and we cannot maintain these prices, so we better liquidate the heck out of these cards before introducing new ones. Now, we're expecting mostly the high-end ones, and we'll get into that when we talk about the next gen GPU launches that's coming up in just a moment. But rounding out, we've got the RX 6500 XT. It went up $5 to $185. Again, I don't recommend that GPU to anybody, especially when you got the 6600 sitting at $254, $70 more. That is your buy right there. All right, let's jump over to the NVIDIA cards, and I've got tons of bad news for most of you NVIDIA fans who are holding out hopes that you're gonna get an RTX 3000 series card, especially at the mid-range and low end. But there is gonna be one exception. Let's start off at the top, 3090. Who would buy this card? No price change, $1,500, same as it was in May, in July. We won't even bother to go through what card that is, but 3080 Ti came down about $40. Again, these are cards that I don't think anybody's really that interested in buying right now. 4% change, not a big deal. But the RTX 3080, exactly the same price as it was last month, $769. Now, the good news about this is that this $769 card here, that's after a $30 rebate, is a 12 gigabyte version of it. These are slightly faster than the 10 gigabyte version, and they've got 2 extra gigs of VRAM, which is nice. I don't think the VRAM's that big a deal, but certainly the slightly faster card is nice, especially when it's the cheapest one. Right here, the MSI Ventus. I typically skip over the 3070 Ti because the 3070 Ti and the 3070 have virtually identical performance, certainly not enough to justify the price of the 3070 Ti in any way, shape, or form. But good news, RTX 3070 just keeps slipping a little bit more. It's $579, still kind of far off from its MSRP. Not bad cards. We've got the Gigabyte Gaming OC. I actually have this card. We used this in our video editing rig for quite a while. And then if you don't like that one, they've also got the Gigabyte Vision, the all white one as well. Number of different cards, all with various promos that you can get for around that $579 price point. But the big news this month was the RTX 3060 Ti. This is a card that a lot of people have been holding out hope for, and just hoping and hoping. It went down 9%. This is the really sum up NVIDIA. Everything else pretty much stayed the same, but the 3060 Ti, $499. I think that's why we saw the Radeon 6700 XT get dropped as much as it did in response, because AMD wants to both have performance and they want to have a price edge over NVIDIA at pretty much every slot, and they do. But some people, I know you guys just want NVIDIA, or maybe you have to have it for the work that you do. But 3060 Ti, again, not bad unit. It's a Gigabyte Eagle. They've got an MSI Ventus one. A lot of them have come down around that $500-ish price point. And of course, if you throw in stuff like the rebates in here, then, you can get a pretty good deal. But that's where the good news kind of ends for NVIDIA. Yes, we did see the RTX 3060 come down another $14. Big whoopity-doo. Still kind of overpriced here at $385, especially with AMD just really chunking down the price of the 6600 XT and the RX 6600. And if you look at the units that they're offering right now, it's like the single fan cards. It's not the cards that you're like, oh, I'm so excited to buy. Although here's one for, $399 here, the Gigabyte Eagle. And if you, kind of hunt and peck, you can find some with some deals, but it does end pretty quickly. You pretty much either need to take some of the more kind of cut down versions of these cards, or you're gonna have to spend like $430 for it. I know that's a little rough. Amazon does have a wider variety of some of the cards that are around $499, but they're all this type of card. And then the RTX 3050, absolutely no change in this card, and I want to just stop people from buying this GPU. It is obscenely priced. It is basically a GTX 1660 Super that has DLSS. That's it. It's not some great performing card. The RX 6600, the 6600 XT smokes it, and if you're really serious about getting something that's NVIDIA, you have to have NVIDIA for about $300. Let me show you the RTX 2060. There's an MSI Ventus unit here. When you add up the the rebates and the promo codes and everything, gets you down to about $280. The RTX 2060 is a faster GPU than the 3050, so let me just save a lot of you pain out there. The other thing is the 1660 Supers, as we'll see in the used section, may be very, very attractive to some folks who don't mind buying something used. And we'll go through the best GPU for your money right now a little bit later in the video. But overall, we can see prices, at least on the NVIDIA side, are flattening out quite a bit. That's right, the prices are flattening out quite a bit. A little bit of a bummer. I know a lot of people were hoping that, NVIDIA, we've heard so much about the huge amounts of stock they have to sell, and we'll get into that when we get into the news. Where are the huge price discounts? AMD is certainly returning to its older form of being the discount. They're both trying to offer you slightly more performance and a much better deal at each price point. And NVIDIA is just kind of saying, hey, to heck with you. We know you're going to buy our GPUs. We're not budging on our price right now. We'll see if that holds. Now let's talk about something that a lot of people are talking about online, and people keep sending to me. Oh my gosh, Jason, the RTX 3070 out there, Founders Edition, $499 at Best Buy. You're crazy for not including this in your prices. Look at the add to cart button. It is right there in front of you. How can you miss this? Well, here's the thing with this. I did try, and you have to actually go pick this GPU up at a local store. I searched in a lot of different locations within 250 miles of Los Angeles, of San Francisco, of Miami, of Chicago, of just about every major city that I could plot on a map across the country. And I found one or maybe two of these. I found one in South Florida, and then I found one in kind of a more extreme part of the Northern Bay Area that's about 50 miles north of San Francisco. Other than that, they are not really there. Kind of misleading when you see this add to cart button. So just know right now that yes, it's kind of a mirage. It would be nice, obviously, if you're lucky enough to live near a Best Buy where you can find one of these, go ahead and check it out. I will include a link to this specific page down in the video description if you want to try your luck at it. However, don't be surprised when you can't find one. Let's talk about the main reason that GPU prices continue to nosedive and it's come down so far is because of Ethereum mining. Ethereum mining is dying, absolutely dying. There's two reasons for that. One is we have upcoming where Ethereum is going to move to something we call proof of stake and the merge. We'll get to that in just a second. That will end Ethereum mining whatsoever on GPUs, and Ethereum is 98% of all GPU mining, so miners will have nowhere to go. But even before that, the price of Ethereum has absolutely cratered, and that's what caused a premature, which is good, a premature lowering of prices because the demand has absolutely dried up as miners are losing their shirts right now, and they have already started panic selling their GPUs. Right now, Ethereum hanging around about $1,185, bouncing around somewhere between $900 and $1,200. But as you can see, well below even where it was just in April at $3,500, let alone the all-time high, which was in November, about $4,800. It's lost, about 75% of its value. That is pretty insane. And just in the last 6 months, 62% of its value. And you can see right now, even if you're mining with an RTX 3090, you're getting about $1.40 a day. You're making $1.40 off that one GPU every day. That's it. This was like $10 a day not too long ago. This also assumes a 10 cent per kilowatt energy price, which is pretty unrealistic right now with the level of inflation, energy inflation that we've seen in the US. So again, I'm just presenting these numbers because we've always presented them at 10 cents a kilowatt hour for an apples to apples comparison. However, if you put realistic energy prices in here, most of these GPUs would be in the red. And that's what's killing GPU mining right now is the miners, when they turn their rigs on, it's costing them money to mine this stuff. And it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And the final nail in the coffin, of course, for not just GPU prices in this generation, but I think GPU prices in next generation being overpriced and us returning to possibly even a lower market than we were at before all this nonsense started, is Ethereum is inching closer to its merge. There were three major client testnets. It just completed the second one today as I film this. So they've got one more major testnet before they actually implement the merge. And I thought this was funny. Tim Biko, who is one of the major developers for Ethereum out there, one of the lead developers, just retweeted this list of all the various testnets they've gone through and what's left. Just one more client testnet, and then the mainnet. Why should gamers care about the merge coming? Well, because there's going to be an absolute flood of used GPUs hitting the market. I think we've calculated in the past it's about 31 million GTX 1660 Supers worth of hashing power out there in GPUs in mining rigs that's going to be unleashed on the market, because there will effectively be no real place for them to go. Oh, what if another coin rises up? All the other coins, you could add them all up and they would be a fraction of the value, a tiny percentage of the value that Ethereum represents. They're going to crush the mining value of those coins. The difficulty is going to shoot through the roof, and they're all going to give up at about the same time, which is going to unleash this huge flood just when AMD and NVIDIA are launching RTX 4000 cards, and just when they're cutting prices on the 3000 cards. So we're going to see the perfect storm I've been talking about for so long, where it's going to be a great time to build a budget gaming PC or even a mid-range gaming PC. Probably the merge is going to happen sometime early September, maybe even late August at the earliest. So in the fall, it's going to be thumbs up for gamers. But what about those next-gen GPUs? When are they coming? Well, it looks like NVIDIA at least has delayed their launch to about when AMD was going to launch anyway, sometime in the fourth quarter for their Radeon series GPUs. September for the RTX 4090, October for the 4080, and November 2022 for the RTX 4070. Of course, we'll see. This still might get pushed back even further. I don't think that they want to wait until the holiday season, but one of the reasons listed is that the board partners, their partners, have so many unsold RTX 3000 series cards. They just are begging NVIDIA, please don't launch, because as soon as you even announce these cards, we're not going to be able to sell these cards. We don't know what to do with all of the backlog. Everyone out there is crying huge amounts of tears for them, of course. All right, let's take a look at GPU prices around the world. Now, listen, we continue to refine our methodology on this. I really appreciated everyone's feedback last month that including VAT, the value-added tax in many countries, is not a fair apples to apples comparison. So we've taken it out. We've done our best to take it out this month. Let me know if we missed any of that. I will leave a link to kind of all the big data spreadsheet here with everything in it down in the video description. You can check it out. We're not going to go through it right now, but double check my math. And again, if we've made any mistakes, let us know. We'll keep refining this. We did add in the Philippines this month, as well as Australia. So let's take a look. We've color coded this, broken out into all GPUs, high end, mid-range, and budget. And as you can see at the high end right now, except for the Philippines and India, Germany, Australia, Canada, and the UK, pretty much in line with the US or even slightly below right now. At the mid-range of GPUs, same story. In the Philippines, for whatever reason, AMD just is not very competitive there compared with NVIDIA. And then at the budget area, we actually see several countries pulling in front of the US. Now, this has a lot to do with the price of the 6500 XT being significantly cheaper in places like the UK and Canada and Germany than it is in the US right now. Prices around the globe continue to come down, and some of the horrible markets, unfortunately, like India, are beginning to improve. Let's just take a really quick look at the used market, just some trends. Let's start off with the RX 500 series of cards, like 570, 580. As you can see, have come down about 40, almost 50% since the beginning of the year. Came down about 12 to 15% last month. The slightly newer version of those cards have come down massively since 50, almost 60% in some cases. These were great GPU mining cards. However, GPU mining is over, and miners are dumping these cards in absolute droves right now. If we look at previous generations of NVIDIA GPUs, starting with the 900 and the 1000 series, they've also dropped quite a bit. Not quite as much as the Radeon cards, but still dropping about anywhere from 10 to about 17% last month. Again, miners are just absolutely dumping these cards right now. If, of course, we look at the 16 series cards, these GPUs have also come down quite a bit, although they are slowing down. However, there are some great buys right now. Let's take a look at our spreadsheet, where every month we take a look at the best price to performance GPUs, both new and used, from AMD and NVIDIA that are still supported with driver updates. There is a link to this down in the video description. These are US-based prices. However, you can put in your prices in your region, both used and new, and you can even tell it how much of a discount you want on a used price before you use that over the new price, and it'll sort these by price to performance. Let's start off with the best $200 or less GPU for 1080p gaming, and we've got the RX 570s all the way down to $115 used. This was selling for like $300-400 used not too long ago. it's pretty insane. And you can get either the 4 or 8 gigabyte model for about the same price right now. The other big standout to me is the GTX 1070, $180, great performance. However, if you want to get that same level of performance, maybe with the slightly newer card, the GTX 1660 Super and 1660 Ti right now selling for $200 or less. So if you don't mind spending the extra 20 bucks, I would go that route. Now you can get these cards new for like $280. Massive ripoff. Don't do it. I would probably go for the used one. Take the 20% discount off that. But what if you just want the best 1080p gaming experience and you don't mind spending a little bit more than $200? Well, the GTX 1070 continues to stand out on this list in terms of its price to performance. But don't look now. The RX 6600 hot on its heels. $254, considerably more performance. It's a great deal. And if you don't mind spending a little bit more, the 6600 XT is definitely the way to go. These two GPUs right now absolutely smoke the competition from NVIDIA or even AMD's older GPUs. But don't look now. We've got the RX 5600 XT kind of plummeting in price right now. This 5000 series AMD cards, we haven't talked about them much because they were such good mining cards. Miners were paying ridiculous sums, up to $1,000 for a 5600 XT not that long ago. Now you can see $215, rapidly falling. I would not be surprised to see this card well under $200 by this time next month, and us talking about that's the GPU to get. But it's really at the 1440p gaming level in terms of price to performance where we're seeing NVIDIA is just not keeping up in terms of the RTX 3000 series with the price cuts necessary. Again, the RX 6600 XT kind of at the lower end of 1440p. Great price to performance though, $324. I would skip the 1080 Ti, you know, it's an older card. You can get the 6600 XT for about the same price and more performance. Similarly right now, skip the 5700 XT, although that is one of the cards I do expect to continue to plummet in value. 2070 Super, yes, newer cards, decent performance, but again, don't match the value of the 6600 XT. The 6700 XT is really the next kind of spot I would look at for $449. The RX 6800, that big price cut really brought it into line. Doing pretty good with price to performance. If you absolutely have to have NVIDIA right now, the RTX 3070 is probably their best price to performance at that new $579 price point. And if you're looking for the best 4K gaming right now, of course, you know, I know it's hard to look at these cards and think, well, don't we have new GPUs coming? Yes, we do probably at the end of the year, you know, probably by the time you'll be able to get one. But right now, if you absolutely have to have something, again, the 6800, great buy. The 3070 not far behind it, but still not up to the 6800 in terms of pure rasterization. RX 6900 XT has taken a big jump. Again, continued price cuts by AMD on this, $799. If you're the kind of person who you maybe been waiting for 2 years and you're like, screw it, I'll buy this now and then I'll buy another one later, this is a good card. The rest of these cards, I mean, maybe the 3080 because of some of the features if you've got to have NVIDIA, but the rest of these cards in here, the 3080 Ti, the 3090, the 6800 XT, right now they are definitely on my do not buy list. Okay, let's play everyone's favorite game. Should you buy now or should you wait? Well, honestly, let's start off. If you're a budget builder right now, I say go for it right now. Look, you can get GPUs right now, the RX 570, RX 580, GTX 1066 gigabyte. Of course, stuff like the 1070 are out there as well. And there's great deals on cheap processors. RAM's cheap right now. So many other components are super cheap. In fact, neither historic lows, except for PC cases, which have come down a little bit. But that's nice. But right now, it's probably never been cheaper to build a higher performance 1080p budget gaming PC than pretty much at any time in the past, given the faster GPUs and the faster CPUs. Now, what about mid-range folks? Well, listen, if you've been eyeing like an RTX 3060 Ti, I think there is some room in there for that price to come down a little bit, but you got to ask yourself, how much longer do you want to wait? Like, really, is 20 bucks, is it worth another month to you? If it is, maybe a 3060 Ti is not the GPU for you. Maybe you should come down a little bit in terms of the overall price. That's you, Mr. Bear. He says there's a kitty up there, Dad. So honestly, if you're looking to build at the mid-range, if you're looking to build a brand new system, same kind of methodology applies. CPUs, GPUs, everything has not been this cheap as a package. I know GPUs still slightly more than we'd like, but as a package has not been this cheap that I can remember in quite some time. Right now, great time to build either Intel or AMD, doesn't even matter. But what about you at the higher end? Maybe you're just looking to get a GPU, or maybe you want to build an entirely new system. Well, honestly, it's tough. I get if you don't want to go out. I know AMD continues to cut prices on that 6900 XT. They're trying to tempt you to come out there. And at the same time, we know that the launches are getting pushed back a little bit. But I would say hold out especially if you've waited this long for a super high end. You're like, no, I want a 4000 series or a RX 7000 series GPU. The time is coming and it is rapidly approaching. That being said, maybe you're somebody who wants to play 4K gaming, and especially when Ethereum goes to proof of stake in a month or two, you'll pick up a 3080 for like $300, maybe even $400. That would be a great deal and hold you over until you can get a higher end GPU. I hope you enjoyed this month's GPU update. Let me know down in the comments, what do you miss? What else should we be covering? And of course, remember, if you got value out of this video, give it a like. It makes a huge difference, especially this guy right here. And of course, if you're undecided on what exact GPU to get, we've got a whole video going through AMD versus NVIDIA on all the different components that you need to be thinking about in order to buy the best GPU for gaming in 2022. Right here, check it out. You'll have a great time and he'll like you a lot more. We'll catch you on the next one.